it is very possible that this is a deliberate move. And that is where probably the politics come in, because, as I said in my introduction, these are hostile nations. These are nations that claim this part of the South China Sea, particularly the Spratly Islands. This has happened in this area called Sabina Shoal. Now, tell us, are you familiar with this route? Have you been there? What is it like? And if a collision is happening there, what entails? Like, give us a visual description of this particular part of the South China Sea.
So South China Sea is a very, very big sea route. All the vessels going to Japan, Korea, China itself, coming to Philippines, they are all passing through this. And Singapore and the East, Far East is now such a big business center. And
Yes.
China being one of the major exporting countries, the huge amount of trade happening through China. Now, it looks like in the best interest of China to control the South China Sea, especially because all the
Mhm.
vessels are coming down south. And the situation out there generally is, out at sea, nobody sees anything. That's the reason they take advantage of uh, carrying out some operations where nobody actually knows what has happened. We can only contemplate, we can only make assessments of what is going wrong there. But the facts only the two countries know on what has happened. Now, being two different countries and being in international waters, the jurisdiction is also very, very limited. Philippines is not in jurisdiction of the waters. China is not in jurisdiction of the waters. Hence, they both can start claiming whatever they like.
This is not the first collision, of course. There have been similar provocations earlier. And you rightly said that it's some sort of a flexing of muscles, arm twisting tactics. China wants to claim this part of the territory, and they are doing
Mm.
everything on their part to ensure that, they send out a message there that who's the big brother here. So a lot of these things are happening for that sort of posturing, as well, as I understand from what you're saying as well. I want to again ask you about, since you were with the Merchant Navy for almost 3 decades, the trade routes. If there is a dispute, a conflict, India, in fact, is not a direct claimant to the Spratly Islands or to the South China Sea where there is a dispute among nations, but it impacts us, isn't it? Can you help us understand how Indian trade routes or merchant navy vessels would be impacted when there is a conflict in an area like this?
Yeah. Afrida, today, 90% of the business is moving by sea. And value wise, 80% of the value of goods is moving by sea, but sorry, 80% moving by flights, because it's the diamonds and high value things which move by planes. But
Mhm.
all the containerized cargo is all moving by ships. And anybody who controls these routes, they are the ones who are going to be controlling the economics of the area. India definitely is getting affected by this, because we also have enough business coming from China, coming from maybe Philippines, Singapore. And these are not just routes of business through China, these are routes where vessels are coming via these places also. So they are transiting these areas. So anybody controlling these areas is the king. If you remember, there was a vessel which got stuck in the Suez Canal a few years ago, and the entire trade route was affected. It was one of these situations where the world's trade came to a halt only because of Suez Canal. So you can imagine India's business lines in that direction definitely will be affected. The entire world is affected by what is happening in South China Sea, some way or the other, directly or indirectly.